Good afternoon, everybody. I'm out on my oil-in frame T140 Triumph Bonneville, and the weather this weekend was predicted to be wet and windy. It's certainly breezy, we can see that from the trees, but it's certainly there's no rain at the moment. So I thought, after spending a lovely morning with my friend Nicola, having a coffee and a piece of carrot cake, I'd take the bike out and blow the cobwebs through my hair. So we're heading out through the Riptons. So we got Abbots Ripton, Kings Ripton, up to the old A1, and to Connington, to the old American Air Base. Hope you enjoy the ride. I'll tell you a little bit about my bike. T140E for Echo. It is my go-to bike after the BSA 250, and when I'm not quite in the mood to take my Norton Commando fastback out for a spin. As you can probably see from the video, it's got the TSX handlebars. A lot of people confuse them for the American high-rise handlebars, but they are actually midway between the two. Not quite as high as the American export model handlebars, and just that's sufficient enough. Thank you, Mr. Postman, he's pulled over, let me go. It just allows my back to be a little bit straighter and a more upright sitting position. And if you can see the petrol tank, I'll try and show you now while the road's relatively clear. I have a export tank on there. You certainly hear and see a lot more of the engine than you do with the British cake tin style square tank that my bike originally came with. It developed a leak when I was out riding, and there was obviously a historical repair to the tank, and it was actually quicker at that time with COVID to purchase a brand new tank in the same colours as the bike was originally. So it's certainly not UK spec. I didn't realise at the time that the seat pan was different on my T140 as soon as I fitted the export tank. So it's got a slightly narrower at the front seat to meet the area where the tank absolutely narrows down. Peanut tank's fine in my opinion, and it's very subjective like anything. The peanut tank looks slightly better perspectively on photographs, and it certainly gets more looks with the I think they call them the eyebrow tank badges, forgive me if I've got it wrong, but yeah, it was a bit of a project at the time, so the tank had to be switched. I changed the petrol taps for good measure, the fuel lines, the seat, and the handlebars. And of course the different handlebar sets gave me challenges with the existing flat bar UK home market cables, so control cables had to be switched. Yeah, for those that are beady-eyed and wondering what I've got on my handlebars, you'll see that I've got two ram mounts with a pigtail lead down here for my TomTom, which is ignition switched live to power off my satellite navigation, which is typically on here. And this one on the right is a throwback leftover from when I was motorcycling in both Snowdonia and the Peak District quite recently, where I had a forward reverse looking camera, i.e. taking a video of yours truly. So that was Abbots Ripton that we just came through. This is Kings Ripton. Got to take it careful because there's a road to the left there that you may just see that the local constabulary love to sit with a radar gun, but excuse me, nothing wrong with taking it easy when we go out for a ride. A lot of people question the feasibility of the electric cars, but What absolutely catches my eye with this Tesla in front is the absolute torque and power that must be available the minute he puts his foot down out of this 20-30 mile an hour zone. I say 20, we've just come through a 20, this is 30. It absolutely has rapid acceleration. Anyway, Kings Ripton on the right here, the Elm Pub. The local scooter club meet there, the HRA, they're found on Google, very easy, HRA Scooter Club. And we're heading out of Kings Ripton to join what is, or what was, the old A1. I don't know the road number, but it's a nice road. Anywhere in East Anglia you can see the roadworks here. Look, I mean, I don't think there's more than 30 yards without a patch or a repair. And you certainly feel it on the Triumph. The Norton's slightly more forgiving, but yeah, I can't see any rain in those skies ahead of me. Perhaps they're slightly northwest over perhaps the southern end of Sawtry, Stilton, but we won't be going that far today. So one of the things I'm testing today is I've got a new GoPro 11 Black with a media mod fitted to the camera. It's helmet chin mounted with a removable Velcro strap, and I'll insert some photos here. And as you can see, it attaches to the camera via a removable chin strap, which I'm wearing an Arai Flag Series Helmet. Not cheap, but as my friend said, the last tumble I had, my helmet was credited with saving my life. So I thought, rather than ride around in my £130, £150 shark helmet, I'd invest, I suppose it's investing in my health, isn't it? I'd spend some money on a top brand helmet, and I gotta say, this Arai Flag Series is a lovely helmet with regards to wind noise. Got a fast moving bike here, twin spots, could be a Triumph, might be a Jet bike. Here he comes, don't know what he's out to prove, but overtaking on a nasty bend coming up there on the left and a junction on the right, but hey ho, we've all done that and been there, haven't we? Where was I? Yeah, so I've got Arai Flag Series helmet on. Now here's the challenge with the Arai Flag helmets, is that with a £500-600 helmet, I don't want to put a GoPro mount on it, but I'm not really afforded that ability to do so, because on my particular helmet, and here comes an insert to show you which helmet I'm wearing, around the front bottom area where you'd normally attach a GoPro adhesive female mount to take the GoPro clip, is simply too angular, and this is why I've got the removable front mount on there. Yeah, I've sang the praises of this helmet both from a noise perspective and a fit perspective. However, Arai's policy, design constraints, restraints, they don't fit an inner sun shield. Now you may see on the GoPro video, I'm actually shooting right into the sun right now, and I am squinting very badly, whereas my friends just pop their internal visors down and the dark visor, and away they go. There we go, Mr. Tesla's opening up on his battery. I can't do that, and I don't like to wear glasses inside the helmet unless I'm touring particularly long distances. But today it's just an hour's ride out on the bike to warm up the T140 and take advantage of these lovely road conditions and weather conditions. So at the bottom of this video you'll see a link to both my Snowdonia video and my Peak District video. And what I'll do when I park up for my tin of Coca-Cola, thank you very much Laura for passing me that tin that I can enjoy, I'll talk you and show you through the bike and through some of the foibles and challenges that I've had with this bike. I think it would be fair to say, and I think my friends would agree, that my bikes are kept clean, but they're certainly not polished. You know, there's an old adage, isn't there, ridden not hidden. I certainly enjoy riding both my Triumph and Norton, and whilst I try to keep them clean, I don't really polish them. By Tesla missed the opportunity there. Norton is probably the cleanest of the two bikes. Never understood that. I don't know whether you saw that or how well the GoPro picked it up, but as I started to overtake on the road, I'm sure other motorcyclists experience it, the Nissan actually put his foot down, and I couldn't cleanly pass him until I exceeded 70 miles an hour. Yet at the point of overtake he was doing less than 40 on what is arguably a 50 to 60 mile an hour road. So I don't know why car drivers get the hump with us two-wheel riders overtaking, but I did think the Tesla was going to put his foot down and he would go. Here we go, another two-wheel fast mover. I do wonder, those lads and lasses that stove down this road, I do wonder if they realise how bad, in his case, that left-hand bend was. And when we go back later on, you'll see that there's loads of skid marks and loads of tyre tracks going into the very soft fenland grass verge, so I reckon there's quite a few people that overcook it. So we're going right here, and we're going along the B1043 to Connington. Connington for me is a village steeped in recent local history from the Second World War. It was the site of a major bomb group, heavy bomber air base, and just about the only thing that's remaining, the only two things, are the water tower from the air base and the you'll see it as we pass the church in a few minutes. You'll see that there's what was part of the ammunition store still standing. Quite unusual for the 8th Air Force airfields was there was, between the two runways, there was actually a working farm throughout the Second World War, and that is there still today. And obviously when the land was handed back from the MOD, or what is now the MOD, the Ministry of War, or whatever it's called, back in the early 50s, was became farming arable land, and the runway is still visible, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. But I'm just going to sign off for now because I've been rambling for the last 5 minutes, so I'm just going to stop the camera and I'll... So we're turning off right from the B1043 into the village of Connington, and here we can see, and I will pull over and give you a quick clip of the 457th Bomb Group Memorial. And you'll notice that while we're heading into Connington, it was actually called RAF Glatton, and the reason behind that was that for many reasons, but let's just be as straight as we can, it wasn't called RAF Connington because it was too similar on the radio of the day to Coningsby, so it's called Glatton. And there we can see the memorial set up by my friend George Popg's father, who was mayor at the time in Peterborough, and he got this land bequeathed, dedicated in perpetuity in memorial to all of those lads and lasses in the 1st Air Division 94th Combat Wing that served here, and particularly for those that didn't come back. And I don't know whether you can see it straight through the trees there. There is the old American Air Base water tower, and it's still standing. So I don't know what they put on those RSJs that form the vertical uprights of the water tower, but I could do some of that on my old British bikes that seem to rust very quickly. So here we go, off the 1043 into the village of Connington, the home of RAF Glatton. And in fact it's reflected in the village sign, as we'll take a quick look at. It always quite poignant, you know, quite something to think about, that particularly the bomber groups in the UK, when they flew over the Axis or occupied countries, the attrition rates were horrific. And there we go, look, if I show you the village sign in Connington, you can actually see, look at that. I don't know whether my GoPro's picking it up, but underneath the church that we're about to see in a minute, on the right hand side, you can see the heavy bomber coming in with its undercarriage down. Wonderful that so many years on we still have this almost modern archaeology that's available for those people like myself to research and read about, and pay our own respects to these people that flew. Anyway, you see the red brick building on the right hand side, and I'm hoping my GoPro can pick it up over there. That's part of the old base. Depending on what you read, it was either a morgue or an ammunition store. I find it highly unlikely that it was an ammunition store, so close to the church that is several hundred years old, and in fact contains a memorial to the airfield. Okay, so as we start to head outside, or out of the old small village of Connington, you'll start to see more and more of the infrastructure open up for the airbase. I'm blessed that in being interested in modern local history, and I'm talking First and Second World War, that in East Anglia you can't go, well, you don't have to go very far before you come across modern history. So here, where the red and white plastic roadblocks are being put up, I'm just going to take you down here and show you, and I'm hoping you can see it. If you look at the hay bales on the right hand side of the horizon, I'm going to take you up. There's one runway. Try and shoot you through there, through the gate. I'm hoping you can see it. There's one runway, and as we head around on obviously what would have been a very heavily protected and closed off area during the war, except for what I suspect the farmer, who, if you can see it on the left there, there's the farm. This would have been the Perry track, and we're going to cross what is now an active runway for the local flying club. But there we go, there's the second of 3 runways. Notice 3. Can you see that? Aircraft landing, no entry. Well, this is no longer an active runway. I would think if you spoke to a pilot, look at that wonderful bird of prey. It's flying away from us. What a shame it's not coming towards us. I'd imagine if you were a pilot and you had a mechanical error, whilst that doesn't look very very usable, I suspect it would be an option to land on there. Okay, here we go. Show the active runway, and then I'll switch my camera off. There's the farm that remained active all through the war. Unusual. So it's a westerly wind. We can see the windsock on the airfield. Being interested in this sort of stuff, I always wonder, instead of just flicking one of these switches, well, my neck had my indicator going, instead of flicking one of these switches to operate the indicator, imagine if I could flick a switch and go back almost 100 years now, and the sights and sounds that you would have seen on there. So here we go, here's an active runway. There you go, that's a live runway. Just look at the length of it. Jeez. I'm not aware of that hangar's role in any Second World War activity, particularly when you think about the size of the bomber groups. The only thing I'm scratching my head about is if you can see the yellow and blue sign above the centre of the arch, it was cut away to allow something in, potentially a tail fin. So I don't claim to be any sort of expert, just interested. Maybe it did have a role to play, but certainly the aircraft tower has gone, and it's got modern infrastructure for the flying club. There we go. That's nice, isn't it? 457th Bomb Group and the squadrons 748, 749, 750, 751 and all the stuff. Yeah, lovely. So where's old Cluffers taken you? Well, my friend Nicky, is interested in paranormal and interested in hauntings and spooky houses and all of that sort of stuff. And along here, in a recent book that I read, is one of the most haunted places in Britain, and it's an infamously famous level crossing. We got about 3 or 4 minutes. It's at the end of this road. We got 3 or 4 minutes riding down this Fenland track, and on this railway crossing, the local colonel of the Home Guard and his dog were killed by a locomotive. A truck full of German prisoners of war were killed by a locomotive. So obviously old Cluffers here has to take care when crossing on this old Triumph, although I don't today, do I? And why is that, old Cluffers? Well, I don't, because the RMT and ASLEF are on strike and only 1 in 10 trains are running. But I can hear you say, Dave, with your luck you'll be hit by the only chuffing train that's chuffing along the chuffing line. So old Cluffers will still have to take care. But let's go take a look at what is purportedly one of the most haunted places in England. Let's hope a load of German soldiers don't come out and try and do something nasty to me. But here we go. Oh, and you know what, look at that. One almost thinks they're the signal men, part of ASLEF and the movement. But yeah, as you can see, it's it's extremely remote, so I'm sure you can read about it. But yeah, one of the most haunted places in the county, if not England. Train coming from the right, so I gotta be honest, I didn't think they were running. Let's have a look. Virtually empty, so people have yeah, maybe 12 people on that 8-carriage train. Nothing else. Oh, look at that. Day of the strike and I hit it at thing. Anyway, I'm going to turn around. A level crossing is a level crossing, right? You've seen it. But if you look at the place Connington, Connington, and Google haunted level crossing, you'll see that. That's interesting. You might have realised, looking at my YouTube channel, I'm as interested almost in photography as motorcycling, and I'm always looking for opportunities to take a picture. They invariably involve motorcycles. Just look at that road. You're not going to meet anybody coming up that road, are you? So I told you about my helmet. Let me tell you a little bit about my other clothing and equipment that I wear. So I told you that I'm actually filming today on a GoPro 11 Black that's been out for less than a month. For those people that are interested in vlogging and recording their rides, got to be careful with this camera. It uses a protocol called H.265. Yeah, it compresses the 4K 60 frames a second video that you're about to watch when this is edited. However, it requires an inordinate amount of processor to both watch and encode. I have an i7 processor on my desktop with 32 gigs of RAM, and you know, that's quite a reasonable spec machine with depending on which hard drive I've got in my caddy, Windows 10 or Windows 11, and I edit the movie you're going to see with Adobe Premiere Pro Creative Cloud. It still struggles to edit that video, and I mean struggles. I could take the easy option and film at 1080p 60 frames a second, but I think in photography you try to capture the very best to give the viewer of the imagery or even the audio, arguably, the very best experience you can get. And indeed this camera will go to 5.3K. But oh, look at that. Oh, it's a pigeon. Me getting all excited, thought it was an owl. This is obviously not a road well travelled, and I think this brings us to the church where the memorial for RAF Glatton is. Yep, it does. It's here on the left. We won't have a look at that today, but there's an earlier video on my YouTube channel that shows you that. Here we go. If you just look left now. Yeah. And there's a lovely memorial to those fallen and those that served at this airfield in that churchyard, looking out onto the end of the runway. So I'm on the B660 from Connington to Kimbolton. I think it would be very fair to say that this road locally offers everything that a classic bike rider needs. Dips, bends, curves, climbs, a fairly stable road surface as far as East Anglia goes. If you look at the left where the white line is to the centre line, yeah, there's areas that are broken up, but it's a nice ride. Bauer Media, who own most of the popular motorcycle magazines, use this road to photograph some of the lads on the cover bikes. Just as we climb out of Catworth, the route turns into a red danger motorcycle route and is quite heavily policed. Not a problem for those experienced sport bike riders that perhaps have enjoyed a few track days, but the road gets very fast with some dangerous bends in. Slowing down as we go through the village. Got a tin of Coke in the back in the old Craven top box that I fitted to my T140, and I was hoping to find somewhere nice with a bit of sun. But yeah, look at the B660. You can imagine on a modern hyper sports bike, super sports bike, that I'm bimbling along here at 60 or just slightly north of 60. What some of these modern bikes can actually achieve on roads like this, and as I said, the road surface is pretty good, full width of the road, which will not slow the fast road riders down. But you'll see in a minute, and I'm going to pull over on this bend and pull over and have a cup of tea. I'm going to have my Coca-Cola. But yeah, see this warning here. As you approach it now, just above the tarmac, you can see the flash, and there is almost In fact, it exceeds a 90-degree bend. But yeah, let's pull over. And what a shame that log's at the wrong side of the fence. But yeah, I'll tell you what, trick with the Triumph, find neutral as you're pulling in. Don't try and find neutral when you're stationary like me, else you'll be struggling. But look, there's the apex, there's the bend. Beautiful, beautiful. But I'm sure that the local lads know the challenge with this bend. It'll be the visitors on the far tree line that you can see over there. That is Northamptonshire. And any lads who've heard about the B660 or noticed that the photographs now in some of the popular motorcycle magazines have the //3 words, and that allows you to find precisely the grid area that the motorcycle magazine took the photograph on. So I don't doubt that that in its own right encourages riders to find these roads. But B660, I'm hoping it doesn't pick too much wind noise up, but if you can see in the near shot, the grass is virtually laid flat. The wind is quite strong. Me plodding along on the 750 is not too much of a challenge, but I think it might have been if I bought my old 1959 BSA 250 out, I think I might have been, you know, slowed down on the gradients, but not today. Anyway, time for a tin of Coke. B660 reverse route, so I'm not going to put you through that pain again. Definitely cloud base is building from a near blue sky. The new 10-bit sensor on the GoPro will probably pick these clouds up quite effectively, but here we go. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my few minutes of a jaunt through the Cambridgeshire villages and my short ride on the B660 today. Please think about one, if you like the video and it's your sort of thing, click the like button. And oh, there you go, old Cluffers hasn't done what he does. He switched his fuel off, so I felt it going from 2 cylinders to 1 cylinder. Anyway, yeah, so if you like the video, please click like, and if you think that the series or the theme of my YouTube channel is something that you'd enjoy watching, from repairing, riding, then please think seriously about subscribing. Doesn't cost anything, helps with the numbers, I think, as we enter into October 2022. By 509 subscribers. The thing is with YouTube, unlike Facebook friends, with YouTube subscription, I can't see you subscribe, and all it means is that for the majority of the films I make, you'll get a little notification when you next go into YouTube that there's a new video from old Cluffers. Here we go then, one of the reasons I like the B660. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later soon. Ride safe.